What's up, guys? So, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. This was a film that came out in 2021, directed by Johannes Roberts. With only the Paul Anderson films to go off of, this seemed like a breath of fresh air for Resident Evil fans. But it's never that easy, is it? I recently re-reviewed the movie and thought, this really isn't as bad as people thought. But then, I thought about it, and well, now this is happening. In this video, I'll be talking about the unanswered questions of Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. So buckle up, this is a lengthy one.
And so I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream from the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I say,
The idea was to merge the plots of both the first and second games. It would have the STARS team go to the mansion, and also follow Leon and Claire inside the RPD simultaneously. Right away, this seemed like a horrible idea. Both games have a lot going on as it is. Combining them into one movie just wouldn't work. Well, unless you leave crucial parts of it out, or just plain don't explain stuff. And that's exactly what they did. A brief history of Part 1, the STARS Alpha team, a special force unit within the Raccoon Police Department, get dispatched to the Spencer Mansion, an Umbrella-owned estate in the mountains outside of town. Their Bravo team went to investigate a strange murder in the area, and were never heard from again. Once the Alpha team arrived, they entered the mansion and came face to face with zombies and other hideous creatures, all created by Umbrella as bioweapons using a virus called the T-Virus. In Part 2, a rookie police officer named Leon arrives in town a while after the T-Virus spreads into the city. He's joined by Claire, who's there looking for her brother Chris, a member of STARS. Together, they enter the police department to face off against more zombies. Anyway, the movie did include these things, but just crammed them all together. In the games, Part 1 and 2 happen almost 2 months apart, but obviously, in the movie, it's all the same night. So let me get to these unanswered questions. Number 1. Why was Kevin Dooley on STAR's Bravo team? Yeah, in the game, he's shown as a Bravo team pilot, but he wasn't an official member of STARS. He was mainly used on missions that required a pilot. In the movie, the only members of the Bravo team they showed going to the mansion were him and Enrico Marini, who, in the game, is the captain of the Bravo team. So, where are the other members of the Bravo team? There's supposed to be 7 of them. I mean, Jill is dressed as one. The jumpsuit that Jill's wearing in the movie belongs to Forrest Spare, the Bravo team sniper. But he's not even in the movie, they just referenced him. And Richard Aiken is the Bravo team marksman. But in the movie, he's on the Alpha team. So, why? Number 2. What was the deal with Jill and Wesker? In the games, Chris and Jill notably had some sort of relationship. She was never with Wesker, at all. But in the movie, they flirted like hell, insinuating that they were either dating or on the verge of dating. It was pretty weird. Chris and Jill were just teammates, and I think Chris had a thing for her, but it wasn't reciprocated. So I don't know what that was about. Number 3. And then there's Lisa Trevor. In the first game, Lisa is the daughter of George Trevor, the architect hired by Spencer to build the mansion. Once the mansion was finally completed, Spencer invited the Trevor family to come stay there. But it was all a trap. Umbrella kidnapped Lisa and experimented on her with the T-Virus. And then, learning that her mother was dead, she cut off some chick's face and wore it like a mask. When we see Lisa in the movie, we don't get that explanation at all. She's just a girl living in the orphanage with Claire. But she's a little girl walking around with a human face as a mask. So, my question is, why did none of the other children question this? And did Claire not notice this little girl cosplaying as Leatherface? Number 4. The mansion looked awesome. It felt like we were actually in the game. The set designer did a wonderful job of recreating that. I just wish we could have seen more of it. Oh, and the RPD. Wow, that was even better. Honestly, they deserve an award just for how good this looked. Granted, I think the backdrop of the mansion and RPD were both CGI, but even so. So obviously, the answer to this one is probably budget, but why couldn't they just show more of the setting? Question number 5. Leon's backstory, they did get right. He was a rookie police officer who transferred to the RPD. Well, in the game, he transferred there willingly. In the movie, he was forced to. Mostly, his character was pretty accurate, aside from Claire completely emasculating him most of the time. In the game, Leon always took charge, and even though Claire was a badass in her own right, and pretty competent with weapons, Leon was too. However, in the movie, this was not the case. He was completely incompetent, and he couldn't even really handle a gun. So I get that her brother was a cop, but why was Claire way more versed in guns than Leon? Number 6. The portrayal of Chris was pretty close to the game version. He was a badass and held his own in the mansion against all the zombies. But one thing I didn't understand is why he was Birkin's protege. I get it, for the movie's sake, they did that to make Birkin more relevant and tie him into the Redfields more. But in the game, they never interacted, not even once. They made Birkin a father figure to Chris, and it just didn't feel right. Then, they built up the father-son dynamic, only to undo it once Birkin mutated from the G-Virus. Like, all of a sudden, abruptly, his true colors came out, and he didn't give a shit about Chris or Claire anymore, out of the blue. Like they were nothing but experiments to him. So then why did he go through all the trouble to put Chris through the police academy? Well, maybe he took the role of Wesker, in that he thought Chris would be a good candidate to test Umbrella's bioweapons. So he put him through the academy so he could eventually join STARS and then get sent to the mansion. Maybe the entire thing was premeditated. It's a conspiracy. Alright, number 7. How about Wesker? In the game, we all know he was the double agent running STARS Alpha Team and working for Umbrella. But he was also double-crossing Umbrella, planning to sell their secrets to a rival company. In the movie, he was reduced to just a STARS member who was being a pawn of some rival company to steal the G-Virus. Like he literally got contacted on a pager by some random person that promised him a bunch of unseen money to go to the mansion and steal the virus. He didn't even know who this person was that he was talking to. This plot seemed kind of forced just to stay relevant to his video game counterpart. And in this one, he's just pretty much a victim of a random benefactor. Then there's the end scene where he gets the sunglasses. In the game, he always just has them on. But in the movie, he didn't get them until he died and brought back by the T-Virus because he lost his vision. And the glasses helped him to see. So my question is, in the movie, why was Wesker just reduced to Ada Wong's pawn? Number 8. Ada was only in the movie for one scene. She was Wesker's contact to steal the G-Virus, like I just said. And that's all fucked up. In the second game, Ada is working for a rival company to Umbrella, and she shows up to steal the G-Virus, but she does it herself. So I guess there's bits of that in the plot. Maybe they just merged some of it together. She meets Leon and somehow uses him to get around. I mean, I guess she does end up having a thing for him, but mostly she uses him. But in the game, she never directly spoke to Wesker at all. Not until Resident Evil 4. In the movie, she only appears to revive Wesker and give him the sunglasses, and that's it. Unlike the game, she never even crosses paths with Leon in the movie at all. So, how can you have Ada Wong in the movie and not have her interact with Leon? Number 9. How about Ben Bertolucci, the reporter? In the game, Ben was found locked up in a cell under the station. Chief Irons locked him up for trying to expose Umbrella's secrets. Well, in the movie, it's kind of the same way, but not really. In the movie, Claire comes back to Raccoon City after a long hiatus and wants to look into Umbrella, a reporter and conspiracy theorist who thinks Umbrella has been poisoning the town with T-Virus laced water. The problem is, Claire never knew Ben. At all. In the game, Leon and Ada were the ones that talked to Ben. So my question is, how is this so hard to adapt into a movie? Honestly, it's frustrating. In the movie, Leon does go down to the basement and find Ben locked up, but it's with Claire, not with Ada. Number 10. Chief Irons wasn't the same in the least bit. In the game, he's a creepy, shady person who's on Umbrella's payroll. And, just adding to that, he kidnaps women and stuffs them taxidermy style. But in the movie, he's just an asshole police chief. He's not on Umbrella's payroll. At least, I don't think so. There's a point in the movie where he gets a phone call and tries to leave town. So maybe Umbrella did call him and tell him to get out of the city. Either way, the movie version is not nearly as sketchy as the video game one. Also, in the movie, he has no ties to Sherry, Birkin's daughter. But in the game, Irons is constantly after Sherry, to the point to where you wonder what his intentions are. So they took that out, because in the movie, they don't interact at all. I guess there wasn't really a question there. At number 11, there are some characters that we don't see at all in the movie. Half the STARS team, Marvin, the T-002 Tyrant, Hunters, Chimeras, Ivies, Mr. X, and that's a big one, Hunk, and Barry Burton, who was a huge part of the first game. Brad was there, but he died way too soon. He was supposed to survive and get killed by Nemesis later on. But no, they just blew his ass up in a helicopter. The big part is, why no Mr. X? How can you not have him in the movie? They substituted the T-002 Tyrant for Birkin. I mean, technically they kind of had the same role in the games, kind of. But just because they were both antagonists, they combined their stories together and used Birkin for both. In the game, Wesker didn't shoot and kill Birkin for the G-Virus. It was Hunk's team, a team sent in by Umbrella. And then the whole train situation. Birkin did mutate and Leon and Claire fought him on the train. But Chris and Jill obviously weren't there. I mean, I understand, they merged the plots together, so they had to mix stuff up a little bit. But do it better. And I know you had room for Mr. X in this movie. I mean, come on now. Another thing they did was merge the labs. The Umbrella lab under the mansion was not the same one as the one under the orphanage. At that, there never was one under the orphanage. The police station had a sewer under it that eventually led to the labs. But they just cut a lot of corners here, because why not? Number 12, I think. They showed the research into Lisa Trevor and explained that Umbrella, mainly William Birkin, was experimenting on children with the T-Virus. Okay, but in the game, that was a tiny portion of what they did. Birkin wasn't even really a big part of Umbrella. The movie didn't mention James Marcus, Oswald Spencer, Edward Ashford, or Alexander Ashford, who were all big parts of Umbrella and its creation. The only members of the Ashford family they referenced were the twins. But they didn't even say who they were. They just showed a quick video of Birkin experimenting on them. Number 13. What is the G-Virus? If you weren't a fan of the Resident Evil games prior to watching this movie, you'd have no idea. That's the problem. Most of the stuff going on in this movie heavily relies on you already knowing the lore. If not, there's no point in even trying to make sense of anything. Wesker is after the G-Virus, and Birkin injects himself with it and starts growing eyeballs. Then he becomes a full-on monster. So you're just going to put that in the movie without any context, huh? Number 14 or so? Annette Birkin was in the film, but like Sherry, served no purpose. In the game, Annette was a bitch and was trying to kill Ada like the whole time, and seemed to be the only one that knew she was a spy. But in the movie, she's just a regular housewife that has no idea what's going on. And she doesn't even work for Umbrella or anything. As a matter of fact, when Birkin takes her down to the lab, she's like, what the hell kind of work do you do down here? So that's not like the game at all. And Sherry never gets found by Claire in the police station because she just hangs out at home with her mom. And the biggest part of that is, once Wesker kills both of her parents, she's totally cool hanging out with just total strangers on a train as they fight a huge monster. Yeah, no big deal. Another main thing is, in the movie, Annette cares about Sherry. In the game, that shit never happened. Annette left her to fend for herself in a zombie-ridden police station. Yeah, great parenting. So that was pretty much it. And these are all valid arguments, guys. I mean, I know they were supposed to be questions, and I pretty much turned it into a giant rant. But the more I think about it, the more it bothered me. This movie is almost as distant from the actual games as the Anderson films were. The last thing I will say, and what bothered me the most, was Claire's ponytail. Where is it? In the game, she never wore her hair down. Not even in the later games. So what the hell is this? You had the red jacket, you had the jeans, the motorcycle boots. All you had to do was tie your damn hair back. And why did no one tell her this? With all that being said, fuck this movie. Alright, well, it's not that bad. But it's pretty bad. Those were some unanswered questions / ranting. about Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you later.